Hello and welcome back to Wireman's Whimsy. We are going to make our first card with the Petals of Beauty Stampin' dies. And I've also pulled in the Modern Oval Punch. For this card, I used some of the Strawberry Slush faceted gems. And on this card, I'm going to use the holographic gems. So this one I've done in Melon Mambo, Lemon Lime Twist, Pretty in Pink, and then the centers are in Cherry Cobbler. For the card today on the video, I'm going to use Granny Apple Green, Azure Afternoon, Coastal Cabana for the little flowers, and then Calypso Coral for the centers. I've already stamped and die cut the flower for the center and cut out some of the greenery using the dies. So it's this die that I've used to cut out the greenery. This didn't show up very well, so I thought maybe if I put another piece of greenery in behind, it would. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to do slightly less greenery, just to see if the center just kind of shows up a little bit more. But so what have I got? I've got a card base. I've got a 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. Actually, that is too big. So yeah, I'm going to need to cut that down. And I've got a piece that I cut out of the middle. For this card, I used one of my everyday arches and cut out the middle. For this one, I just used one of the textured notes. Textured notes dies to cut out the middle, just so that I'm not wasting paper. Let me just grab my trimmer and cut this down, and I need it to be 4 1/8 wide. So I might have to do a little bit of magic here just to get this to 4 1/8 so that I've got enough to glue it down. So I'm just going to go a little bit shy here. Cut that down. I didn't realize it was too big. And I need a new blade in my cutter. As you can tell, it's making the edges really fuzzy, so I'm having to just smooth the edges down. So let's put this back in. We're going to put it at 4 1/8, and we're going to trim this side down. And we're actually going to use the trimmer, not the scoring tool. Okay, now let's get that out of the way. Okay, and again, I didn't realize the blade was quite this bad until I started doing this card. So I'm just going to smooth the edges over so they don't show quite so much. There we go. So the reason I cut the center out is simply to save paper. That's the only reason I did that. It also makes the card way less, but it's not good enough to make a difference for postal rates. So we've got our 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 piece. We've got a 5 1/4 by 4 piece of the basic white. And then we've got scraps of basic white to do the punch and to do the flowers. So this is going to take just a little bit more time than normal because I am going to do the whole thing. I didn't pre-start it or anything. So I've got my Azure Afternoon, I've got my detail, and I've got my background. And I'm going to do the detail first because it's easier for me to line up the background with the darker piece done first. So I'm just going to stamp this down. Again, I'm going to make it a little bit less busy than I did before. Now I'm going to come back in and I'm going to do these at second value. You can use a different color if you want, but what I find is that just by using second value, you get that two-tone look. And I'm just going to have to keep stopping and looking to make sure I'm still in frame. I've changed my camera setup. I used to have like multiple arms, those bendy arms over trying to get lighting and everything else. And I've changed what I've done. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm still in frame because I don't want to be out of frame. That's not the point of doing a video. You need to see what I'm doing. Okay, So that's all I'm going to do with the Azure Afternoon. I'm just going to pop those out of the way. I'm going to come in now and I'm going to do some of the Granny Apple Green, but I'm going to do it more sparingly. What I love about this little set of leaves, this little frond, the way they've done it, you can tuck it right in to the flower. It's really well thought out about how it's going to kind of curve around and look that little bit more natural. Okay, so I'm just going to just put a couple of extra leaves in here. I'm just going to pop one like that, and then maybe I'll do just a little bit on the edge like that, just so it doesn't look completely cut off. There we go. Now I'm going to come in with the Coastal Cabana, and I'm only using the detail one of the small flowers, like right here. I'm just using the detail. I'm not using the background. And I'm just adding in a little bit of interest like that. And I'll just add some to the edges like this. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do with that. Again, I can always add a little bit more in later. Maybe I'll just put one more in down like that. Because the background on the other one is really busy, and I want to see if making it slightly less busy with fewer flowers on it is going to make a difference. So now this is our Calypso Coral for the centers. And we're just going to pop those in. Okay. And that is all of the stamping. The rest now is just going to be building the card. So I'm going to start layering things together. So let's build the card itself, and then I'll do the middle of the card. And I'm going to run out of adhesive here right away. So I'm just going to add adhesive to this framework. And there we go. Okay. And this being the 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, it is super narrow margins or super narrow borders, however you like to think of it. Okay, and then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to add this to the front. And if it looks better one way to you than the other, then that's fine. You decide which way up you'd want it. And then we're going to add that down. And I've just got a little bit of fuzzy there from the edge of the paper. There we go. So now I need to build the middle. And I've already got the fronds and everything cut out, but I need to stamp the Happy Birthday. The Happy Birthday is from the Simply Said set. And it is one stamp, like one long stamp, but I'm only going to use, I want to stack it. So I'm only going to ink up the Happy to start with, and I'm going to stamp that down like that. Okay, and I'm just going to stamp that off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this paper to mask where the Happy is going to go down next, so that I don't double stamp my image where I don't want to. Okay, so I've got the Happy done, and now I'm going to do the birthday. So I'm just going to pop that down like that. And then we've got Happy Birthday. And then I'm going to build out my flower. The flower is going to go on like this. So I'm going to put some adhesive on here, and on here. And then I'm going to add in my greenery. So I'm going to put some greenery here. And then just pop some up here like this. And then this little one is going to go here like this. Then the whole thing is going to get flat mounted onto here like this. Then I'm going to flip the whole thing over. Oh, what I did the sponge dauber edge on that one, and I'm wondering if I need to do it on this one or if I should leave it white so it doesn't, so it stands out a little bit more. But I think, honestly, I think I want to do a little bit of that around the edge. So let me just grab a blending brush and let's see if we can do this without making too much of a mess. So I'm just going to come around the edge. You can use sponge daubers, you can use your blending brushes, just adding that little bit of color around the edge. With our linen pads, we used to just drag the piece through, but these foam pads, you don't want to be dragging anything through them because they'll tear. So, okay, so we've got that organized. So I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this now. So, using up my edges. You know me, I will use my edges. Okay, and just putting some edges around like that. And I have got ink all over myself, so it wouldn't be a day in the craft room with Lorraine if Lorraine didn't have ink all over her. Okay, the reason I put another dimensional there was because it was sticky from adhesive, and I didn't want that piece to stick down onto the card, so I just put another dimensional there. It also helps to hold the greenery in place as well. So now I just need to decide where I want to put this. And see, I didn't even probably need to stamp that flower in the middle, but I can put that down like that. I can grab some of my holographic gems and add those down. And the video is a bit longer than normal, but it will still be under 15 minutes. So there you go. So we're just going to add some of these different sizes here, and then a couple out into the card itself, just to add that little bit of interest. So there, these are our two cards. One done in basically Melon Mambo, the other one done in basically Azure Afternoon. This one has the Granny Apple, this is Granny Apple Green, this is Lemon Lime Twist, and you can see the difference with how busy this background is and how quiet this background is. If you wanted to come back in and put some more of those Coastal Cabana flowers in here, you could, but I think I'm going to leave it alone for now. But that is our first card using the Petals of Beauty bundle. So stay tuned for more videos all week.